Well, did you click on the link? Noble Woods is ready to join. Okay, there you are. All right. Hey, Noble. Ready to join.
Hey.
Okay, there you are.
All right, so.
All right.
Facebook,
hey,
Zoom.
Hey. There you are. Oh, wait. Hold on. We got feedback going on. All right.
Facebook. I should only be in the Be Live.
Wait. Hold on. We got feedback going on. Okay. You got to cut off your Facebook, I think.
Okay. All right.
All right, we're good. So what happened? Why are you late?
Look, you already know. You already know what happened earlier, right? Internet. I got the hard look. When you log in on the not even on the Wi-Fi, right? To make sure nothing goes wrong. And then I don't know. Just today's been weird.
That's all good. Well,
so hopefully we'll have smooth sailing.
It will be, of course, it will be. So, like I said, just going to introduce, well, basically the show for those who don't know. EYS is about empowering, and I'm going to be taking time to talk to people who I feel can empower us as individuals, us as parents, and help us empower our kids. And so that's why I'm bringing you on, our special guest in childhood, classmate from high school, who has gone on and built this great company that helps adults and kids build wealth in their families. And so we're just excited to have you bless us with your knowledge, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit more about what exactly it is that you do.
So essentially, to boil it all down, I envision a world where children and adults are not intimidated by investing. They're confident, they have the skills, the mindset to be investors, the patience, the discipline, but at the core, I teach people how to pull up a chart. If you're thinking about a company like Apple or something that you use, right? Something that you're literally helping to make others wealth by being a consumer and by buying Apple or Sprint or getting your kids video games from GameStop or Sony or Disney, because everybody loves Disney. All of these publicly traded companies, at the end of the day, to be able to make money from them and own shares, you have to understand how to pull up Apple on your phone, how to read, quote unquote, read a price chart, and to know when something's on sale. It's a little bit different than knowing something's on sale from going to, going into the store and you see it says, hey, this item is 50% off. It's a little bit different with investing, right? But stock, companies like Apple and Amazon and Facebook, I just teach people how to read a chart to know when that stock is on sale. So you know when it's a great time to buy. And the principles are the exact same. We do it every day when we go into the store. We do it every day. We teach our kids these principles about buying and getting things on sale, getting deals. The stock market intimidates and it scares people. So I just bring it down. Make it very simple. It's not, you don't need an MBA. You don't need anything beyond 5th grade math. It's just for so many years we haven't gotten an up close look at what it really looks like and how simple it can be. So I translate the language and I give you the tools to be able to pull up a chart, to think about whatever company it is, any company, and in a really simple 3-step process, you will know how to place the orders and how to buy.
Now, how did you get interested in this? Were you interested back in high school, or did somebody put you on? I mean,
yeah. So that's a great question. No, I have. So my undergrad degree, I went to Indiana University, right? Good Big Ten school. Did not learn with a business marketing degree a lot about investing at all. I started working. I got my first job. I'll never forget. I was maybe 22, 23. It was a company came in. They gave us this amazing presentation. We're going to help you guys build wealth, do all these amazing things. They brought me into the office. I went to the office downtown here in Atlanta. And presentation was great. And they were just like, hey, to get you started, it was only maybe like 5,000. Maybe only 5,000, and I'm 22 right out of school, right? So I got kind of smacked in the face and realized, okay, this investing thing is not going to be like as easy as simple. Like it takes money to even start, right? So that kind of pushed me back. That was discouraging for years. I had a 401k. I didn't know what I was doing, like most people.
Mm-hmm.
I just picked something on the 89th day because I had 90 days to actually, kind of pick my the mutual fund. So still did not know a lot. I graduated with my MBA. I'm making 6 figures working at Bank of America. I still did not know if you gave me $10,000 and said, hey, just make 5% this year. I still was not fully educated on how to do that step by step, just the practical process to it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So luckily, I have friends who love me and care about me. So it's during the recession. I'm working at Bank of America. I got a buddy who was working at Citibank at the time.
Mm-hmm.
All of these bank stocks were failing, as we all know. Banks were failing. Recession was really bad. But every bank that got a bailout, think about it, as the government says, hey, we're not going to let this bank fail, then that renews or gives shareholders, people who are investing in that company, it gives them more confidence. So all of those banks that got bailouts, their stock prices started to recover. Buddy man called me one night and said, no, I'm telling you, Citi's about to get a bailout. I think we're going to get one. Just buy some Citibank. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I had $5,000 in my checking account. I spent my checking, my savings, right? Because I was making really good money. I spent all of that money on Citibank shares, and in a very short time, just a couple of weeks, I got a pretty nice return. And I realized I had made thousands of dollars from pushing a button and waiting. And it was something he knew. So it was the first time in my life I literally made thousands of dollars, and I didn't even know how it happened. I just trusted my guy because he knew. And Raquel, that sent me on the journey of a lifetime. For the next probably 6-7 months, I was in Barnes and Nobles all day, every day, every weekend. I was learning. I got into more advanced technicals. I'll tell this little second part. My dad passed away, left me and my half sister $50,000. I had learned a lot about investing. This was maybe like a year out. I meet another person, right? Key mentors, people changing your life, right? And having experiences and being smart enough to not just know that they're there, but to take advantage of them because they had a skill set that could help change my life. I meet a cousin, well, I say he's cousin-in-law, who I didn't know, like my cousin he's married to, but I didn't really know her growing up. So I was looking for a home at the time. He actually became my real estate agent. We were talking about stocks one day. And he was like, hey, oh, you know about stocks? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, hey, I trade futures. I'm like, futures? What are futures? Right? Futures. He's like, yeah, it's a different level than stock. It's more advanced. The buying power is a little bit different. And, you can make a couple hundred to a couple thousand every day. And I was like, oh, okay. So I latched in. I started learning from him. We became like best friends. He's like my big brother now. And I went on another second journey, just learning. Went to this big conference out in Las Vegas by myself. That was really a big game changer for futures and foreign exchange day traders. I didn't even know what that meant, but I went to be in that room with people. I invested in myself, and I've spent that 10, 15,000 hours they say that it takes to be an expert at something. And once I learned the more advanced piece, once again, my dad passed away, left me a little bit of money, and I started day trading, but I had prepared for about 9 months just practicing on an account, right? Preparation, right? And that first year was amazing. I mean, I was making like $500 to $1,000 every day.
My goodness.
And that's what made me say, why am I working still? Like, why am I giving Bank of America 60, 70 hours of my week? And then it got really, really hard. And it was kind of like I had to keep my job, or I had to like take this investing thing and do something with it. I believe in myself. I was raised to be, believe in producing and treading my own path. So I ended up quitting that job. I was making 112,000. So that took some strength, right? A few months later, I was like depressed for like 4 months.
Right. Right.
Like, let's be real. I'm a black man. A black man making 6 figures. It took me 30 years to get to that point.
Right. Yeah.
So luckily for me, my background is marketing, both degrees were marketing. And I realized there was an opportunity to help a lot of other people learn what I've learned. I don't care if you ever get to futures and all this advanced stuff.
Yeah.
But there's so much more opportunity to make money and to protect ourselves and help give our children an entirely different financial future if we learn it first or enough to kind of bring them into that world early.
So tell me, and this is talking to people who don't know a lot about it at all,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
just newbies. What does it mean to buy a stock?
Okay.
Buy stock, if that's
So let's use you for example, right? What's the name of your company? I know this stuff, but I'm just
EYS Magazine.
EYS Magazine, right? Let's say you keep doing your thing, and this is the process, right? So I'm gonna walk people through it. You keep doing your thing, right? 5 years from now, just a lot of partnerships, right? You're going to continue to grow and build this thing, and you'll probably innovate. You'll bring in something related to technology, right? It's going to hit a whole different level. I know you. I'm speaking words, right? Speaking,
I love it.
right? So your business, let's say Nike and a couple of some major things start happening, and there's some sort of product or something that develops, right, that really takes this business to a whole new level, right? And you decide, you know what? Let's say 10 years from now, and this is once again just 10 years from now, you have the potential to make not only to make tens of millions, but you actually are making millions with the business, right? And so you go from ideation to small business, right? And the business is growing. And then you say, you know what? I want to take this biggest level possible. You decide that you want to go public. So what it means when a company goes public is they're essentially going from a private company like Chick-fil-A, major, huge company, very successful, but privately owned. You can't buy shares in Chick-fil-A. You can buy shares in McDonald's. You can't buy shares in Chick-fil-A. They decided to keep it public, right? So let's say, once again, your company's doing amazing. You decide to go public. There's a process. Then people like me can actually buy shares of your company. So as your company does well, and as your stock price goes up, I, as an owner, as a shareholder who believes in you, who knows you, who trusts you as an owner, who's seen the whole business, I want to invest, not just because I'm like giving you money. I'm actually trying to make money from all of your hard work. Right. So as a shareholder, when you own a share of stock, you literally are an owner of Apple, of Facebook, of Netflix. And you have all of that company, all of its genius, all of its products, all of its great marketing. It's literally working to make you money. When I was in corporate, one of the most, I think, eye-opening things for me is all of the big things that I learned when I was at Bank of America, like the big calls that would have like thousands of employees all around the country. They would constantly talk about shareholder interest. Like, so much was, we are doing this or launching this product to keep who happy? Our shareholders, the people that own this company. Right. So in a very simple sense, it's cool to have, I got an iPhone right here, but I actually own Apple. Right. So when the new phone comes out, even if I don't buy it, I hope you do. Why? Because that's going to translate to the stock price moving, which makes me money.
Interesting. So it's important because it makes me money. Am I allowed to have any type of say as far as where the company goes? I mean, what else does it do for me? Why else is it important for me to be an owner? Or is that the only thing that's important? Just the fact that
if we, without going into like getting on MBA level, right?
That if I ask a question that gets into knowledge, just I need to know that.
Right. So there's multiple reasons, but I think the most basic reason, and I'll maybe even say it in this way: ownership just makes sense, right? It makes sense to own the things that you buy, because here's the thing: if you don't own Apple, or you don't own Netflix, but you've had a Netflix account for the last 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, then all you're doing is you're giving your money to the company to get that product, but you're making the shareholders rich, and you're not even asking for your own piece of it.
Wow, that's deep.
That's the deep part, right?
Yeah, that hurts. That
hurts because
I'm trying to come up just like they're trying to come up. So it makes the most sense in the world to just get in the game.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. It's essential. Like investing, I know we think it's an option because we're not taught in school. It's one of the most essential wealth building, money making, billionaire making, millionaire making. The Dow Jones averages higher percentage rate than over the last 100 years than real estate. the best investment, the core of our financial engine for wealth is the stock market. Period. We can, and people, sometimes try to debate about, real estate and different things. It's just the core of where most of all of our wealth comes from. 60% of assets in America, 60% of all assets, 35% of the wealth, real estate. 5% is the stuff, glasses, caps, stuff, Jordans, diamonds, stuff, consumer durables, consumer goods, video games, all of that. 5%. The other 60%, stock, mutual funds, bonds, privately owned companies. Invest.
Wow. So tell me, what can kids get involved in this? If I'm a parent, I want my kid to know. Maybe I don't want to know myself, but I really want them to know because they have the time. Tell me about your experience with kids, and can they really learn how to invest?
Yeah, so they really can. Before I launched Limitless, I knew it was important to prove to myself that I could, because once again, I have an MBA level training, right? So before I launch into a new business, I need a viable product. I need a minimal, some sort of test to know that really putting my money out there and investing my time and my heart into this is going to make sense. So I challenged myself to teach kids first. There's a really, really amazing school here in Atlanta called Ron Clark Academy. Amazing school. Like, just amazing, right? Really good friend of mine works there. I kind of was able to work my way into doing what was before it was called Limitless. It was just an investing class for kids. I taught that class once a week for 3 semesters. Wow. And when I tell you, the things that I didn't think they would be able to get, they got everything. And I got a few examples. So one thing I did, all the kids in about 9 weeks, they learned every single company in the Dow Jones. They could explain to you the Dow Jones. They could tell you what it is. They could tell you if you say, hey, what's WMT? What does that stand for? They're like, oh, that's Walmart. We played little memorization games. We talked about what they wanted for Christmas. We talked about all the companies they wanted to buy. I also taught them how to read charts in a very basic, but really, once again, it's not as complex as people think. I taught the kids how to read charts. And this was probably one of the most powerful things that ever happened. There was one little girl who just, certain children as a teacher connect to you, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's one girl I'll never forget. She's probably in college now, which is crazy. Her name's Robin. I was saying the first name. Her name's Robin, right? A year after my class, her mom was trying to reach me, right? She reached out through my friend. She said, hey, Robin's mom was trying to reach you. She wanted to talk to you. They're out of the country now, but she wanted to talk to you. I was like, wow, like, is something wrong? Like, what happened? She's like, no. She's like, the most amazing thing happened. They just wanted you to know. Her grandmother was in a hospice, unfortunately ill, terminally ill. She had a lot of money she had made. She was there. They were talking about investments. Her financial advisor was there talking to her grandmother. There was some things her grandmother could not understand. Robin was in, I think at that time, 8th grade. Robin explained to her some of the stuff he was saying because she took my class and her grandmother understood it better from her than the financial advisor.
Wow.
And that for me was like, okay.
Absolutely.
This is something. Yeah. Even when I say it now, like, I get a little bit emotional because, it's like to give these kids something that we didn't have. And I paid $80,000 for my MBA. And I'm still teaching, like, the basic things I teach are not being taught at some of the best business schools in the country.
Yeah.
So anyway, really great experience.
I can see you tearing up. That's just a moving story. That really is. And, we don't get taught this stuff in school. So it's up to us to make it a priority to learn about it. I know that I've registered for your course. I'm still trying to get through it because our old minds, I mean, goodness, not that I'm that old or anything. Yeah. Just being so busy with life and it gets in the way, and the hustle and bustle. We're so conditioned to make money by working or starting a business. And we just don't really take the time to try to figure this stuff out. And nobody's going to force us because, I mean, the less people know about it, I guess, the better it is for the small group that do know.
And you went to, what college? Purdue? Where'd you go?
I went to Carthage and I graduated from Parkside. Those are schools in Wisconsin area.
Schools in Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah, those are.
Did they give you any
Man, no.
Anything related
No,
to
no,
financial
nothing at
management.
all. I was nothing at all. Nothing at all. You know, and we see these charts on our cell phones. I mean, and it's just like a foreign language.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I don't, you know, the fact that you're here, being able to, you know, impart in us just a little taste. Hopefully, it gets people excited enough to take this information and do something with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, give us some examples. So, kids want what's hot. How can we empower the kids through them gaining the knowledge of stocks?
So there is, I'll give you an example. I'll give you two quick examples. So that same cousin I mentioned, I try to link all my stories up, right? That same cousin I mentioned, his two children, I don't have any kids yet, right? So even when you reached out and was like, hey, I want to do something with kids, I was like, oh, I love kids, but I don't have any. So there's a different level of insight as a parent, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you two examples. My cousin, their boys are ninth grade and I think eighth grade.
Okay.
Right? They both already have five-figure accounts, investment accounts. Simply because he taught them very early on. He was like, hey, you guys are gonna make money, A, B, and C. This is what your dad kind of does.
That's amazing.
And they they're not like super advanced, but they have already the principle and the mindset, hey, I'm buying some Nikes, so maybe I should own Nike.
Yes.
I love Disney, right? One of them is like a Star Wars fanatic, right? Where do you go? Like, who owns the Star Wars brand? It's Disney, right? So they just, at a very early age, he connected them to active investing and buying and just owning the stuff that you own, right? And that feels good to a child, right? To not only say, like, I like Star Wars, but I actually own, in my portfolio, I actually own a little bit of Disney, right? And so that's one
responsibility. We have to make sure they know.
It's so possible. The other example is my best friend's son, who's like my nephew, right? I went to Indianapolis. I had an event up there a couple years ago, and I told him, I said, hey, I need to pay you, right? Because I thank you. I want to get him kind of like thinking about work ethic, right? You were here early. There's a value to this. Just because I'm your uncle, no, I'm gonna pay you, right? I'm gonna put some money in your hand. But here's the thing. I gave him an option. I said, I can pay you. I'll give you $50 for the day. Or I'll give you $100 if we can put that in the stock market. I gave him an option. And then that, because he was at the seminar, $100 that I can grow that I don't have right now anyway.
Nice.
Or 50 in cash that I'm probably just gonna buy one game with and be done. And he took the 100.
Yes.
Right. And so, and so to get a little bit even more specific, there's an app, right? I don't like to give away like free advertising to other companies, but hey, until I have my own app to do it, which will be coming down the line, like that's a bigger thing to take on. There's a company called Stockpile. It's an app you literally can download on your phone. It's a mobile broker, right? So Stockpile, you can set up a custodial account for your child, right? And so the way it works is you set the account up for the child. You need their social security number because it's income, right, for the child. Now the point is to like let it grow, right? Don't even touch it until just let it grow. Like let compound interest do what compound interest does, right? 5-10 years, let it go. Just let it go. Don't even make it about taking it out, right? That's the problem. We want to make money so fast. No, wealth is built over time. You can open a custodial account with Stockpile. Because they can't actually place the trades. What will happen is even they can have it on their phone. And check this out. My nephew can go on his Stockpile and say, hey, I want to buy some Facebook today, right? That order that he'll place when he hits the button, it'll basically go to the parent or whoever's the custodian over the account and say, hey, do you want to approve this transaction? So literally they can start investing on their own. There's a little bit of technology you have to approve it. But there's no child right now today that cannot take $10, 20, whatever that amount is, and start buying some of the companies that they use and love. And here's the thing too, the kids kind of know the future. Because if you really think about the companies that are going to be the big companies 10 years from now, they're the companies that the kids know. You know what I mean? Like innovation is about what's going to be hot and seeing things now but
Yeah.
be patient and disciplined enough to know 10, 15 years from now is when that big return is going to happen. So the kids know,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like what's cool and what's hot for us is different than what's hot for them.
Right.
I'm on Facebook. My niece is like, yeah, I don't mess with Facebook.
Right.
She's on Twitter. She's on Snap. TikTok is getting huge, right? So the children innately, just the what children are they're your little windows into what's going to be cool and what's going to be the future anyway.
So what would you say the biggest misunderstanding people have about stocks?
Great question. I would say the hands down the biggest misconception is that it's so complex and so hard to do that I just right. So we let the complexity of watching those news programs that we don't understand, all these ticker symbols, what are, even these numbers and these signs and symbols and terms they're using, support and resistance, technical analysis, option, right? Like just literally the terminology and the language is different,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's no different than me going to, Japan and hearing people speaking Japanese. It's going to intimidate me. I won't want to try to even get in that conversation. I don't speak the language, right? Mm-hmm. So we unfortunately believe, and I do a seminar, really powerful seminar where I talk about the 5 big myths. But what I say is that regardless of your income, race, regardless of education, regardless of all these factors we think matter, being single to married, what matters most is your belief. If you believe it's too hard for you to do, then that literally that's going to eclipse you from making money in the market because you believe it's too hard. You believe you can't do it. You might even not fully believe you're worth it. Right. So we've been sold a bill of goods and have been sold that it's really hard. And it's very simple. Literally, Raquel, the things that I teach in my class are the exact same things I was teaching middle school kids. I kid you not, the exact same concepts.
So what if people have debt? I mean, are there certain people who shouldn't think about doing this?
That's a great question. It's a great question. So I kind of put people into 3 categories. And I almost, so let me do this. So there's the person who's like, let's talk numbers, right? I'm a numbers guy. I like numbers. I don't like math. I like numbers. There's a difference, right? There's a person who your total bills every month come to $2,000 and you make like $2,000. You make $1,800, right? So your livelihood, just that piece of like, I make enough, right? That's really tough. I don't want those people to be so aggressive that you make your day-to-day living even tougher by trying to start investing, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a way to kind of have some common sense around it, right? There's 2 other groups. There's the people who like they're making enough, but they're probably not really great with budgeting and savings. And then there's that 3rd group, right? Who they have, a couple thousand, whatever that amount is in savings. They have a little emergency fund, right? But there's no really the huge difference between groups 2 and 3 is group 3 is just more disciplined. It's not that they have more money. They just know what to do with their money, right? Mm-hmm. A lot more people fall in group 2 and 3 than that I get the chance. The people that join these types of calls are, for the most part, they're groups 2 and 3, right? And so what I've learned from talking to people, from digging into their lives, I got students like you. I'm trying to rope you back in and say, hey, it's time to get it. No, it's time, right? So I'm trying to keep people accountable in the best ways that I can, being a one-person sort of brand, right? I also find that internal drive. I've found people who literally they're in group 1, but they get the math behind this thing. They get the mindset. They want it so badly. I've seen people literally get to that 3rd level through investing, not because they found a better job, not because they got another degree, because they figured out a way to sacrifice, to cut something off. Maybe it was Netflix. Maybe they stopped going to the club. Maybe they stopped buying whatever that thing is that they buy.
Yes.
They started putting some of that money into the market, which leads me to this point. Netflix. Raquel, roughly speaking, you got Netflix?
I do.
How much? And you might not even know, right?
No, I think my bill is $28 because of the number of accounts that I have.
Number of accounts. Okay, so check this out. There's some calculators that I love. I love throwing these numbers out. If you invested over the last 10 years, right? Even for the person who says, no, well, I would love to start investing, but I don't have it, right? And I totally feel you if you're in a place where you don't feel like you can. But here's like the caveat. Here's the thing that makes you say, what really is enough? If you were investing $15 a month in Netflix stock every month for the last 10 years, now that's a long time, but there's a way to set this stuff up very easy. It just comes out same way that the subscription comes out, right? You can invest. It's called automatic investing, right? You can put a certain amount on the stock. It could be $10 a month. But the example I have is even for the person that says there's no way I can start investing. I don't see it being possible. $15 a month over on Netflix for the last 10 years. Right now, you'd have an account worth $33,000. So the way we sometimes have to get from, you know, I can't imagine investing tens of thousands. How will I ever get to where I just got $10,000 I can put on this a really, really amazing opportunity? Wow. The way you get to 10,000 is you start with 15.
Crazy.
And the crazy part is a lot of my students right now, who are folks like me and you, right? College educated, working, they have kids. The big thing right now that I'm seeing is so many people are kind of recognized because here's what happened. A lot of people missed a lot of money during the recession and over the last 10 years, right? And check this out, Raquel. Black Friday sales, we know exactly what they mean. The concept we get. It's the time you go get a TV, right? You load up, you get up early, right? If you just need something and you've been disciplined, you know, take some money. I think the average person spends like $1,000 on Black Friday, right? One of the biggest days next to Christmas of the year. Mm-hmm. The recession was literally on stock. You got to view it the right way. It's about how we view things. Mm-hmm. The recession was a 19-month Black Friday sale on stock, on the stock market. That's all it was.
I mean, I don't know what to say. All I keep saying is, wow. I mean, all of these things you're saying, it just seems like money is at our fingertips. If we would just redirect our attention, if we just focus ourselves on something else that actually, we're not taught, but it's worth the sacrifice in learning. Just learn something, to train our minds to do something different.
It's so critical. It's so critical.
Given what's going on in America today, does investing play a role, if any, in the Black community?
Oh.
For the Black community.
Okay, so I don't want to get on soapbox, so you might have to put me back in. You might have to reel me back in. I can feel my energy going. I honestly believe, check this out, like during the Harlem Renaissance 1920s, there was a movement of Black people in this country realizing that we have God-given creativity, right? We have the power to create, right? So we started using our voice, we started dancing. I mean, not even started, it just flourished, right? In this community in Harlem, right? Changed the world, right? Those artists that came, we still talk about them to this day, the poetry that came out of that period. What also was happening, when we think about like Booker T or, George Washington Carver, specifically, if we think about somebody like W.E.B. Du Bois, right? French name. The difference, I think, between those older generations and now is there was a bit more. And I think it's because, pre-segregation, you had all those people there in the same community. They collectively kind of figured out what industries we should be in. So there was this movement towards, as Black people, as part of freeing ourselves, we need to be able to educate ourselves. Black people strategically, collectively started being teachers. Mm-hmm. A lot of the Black schools, I went to Clark Atlanta University, HBCU, a lot of those HBCUs that we have came out of this movement of we need to educate ourselves to be free, right? But here's the thing. If you go back 100 years, yes, education to be free, but education to get this money, to get the wealth, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Today, things have changed. Things have changed. It's not the same century, right? There's people right now, I'll give you an example. There was a company I was going to work for some years back. I was thinking about going back into corporate just to kind of make a little bit more money, figure out how to do both at the same time. There are coding schools, Raquel, where children who really want to get into coding can go through a 6-month program. The parent can pay $10,000 to $12,000. They'll come out ready to have an entry-level software developer job, skip over college, and in 6 to 12 months with these programs that are $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. They're working at some of the biggest, best companies in the world, designing apps in technology, making $70,000, $80,000. So the world is different. Mm. The world is changing rapidly. This idea of go to college, get a trade, work for 40 years. Hopefully you'll have $1 million saved up. People are messing up that model like crazy. Throw that out the window. We gotta adapt. We gotta adjust. And so for me, what I'm seeing is, and I love it right now, I am seeing and getting hit up all the time, all day, by African Americans, by Black people, who right now are saying, you know what, this investing thing I need to take serious. This is it. I had a student the other day, love her to death. She took my base class. Her and her husband got solid with investing. She took a more premium level program with me, learned about futures trading. They got, you know, a young couple. They're doing their thing with investing and real estate, which are the 2 keys to wealth. She literally left me a message the other day and she was crying at the end of it. And she was like, all this stuff that's going on, to connect back to your point, with everything that's going on, so often it does come back to money. Do we have the money to hire lawyers? Do we have the money collectively? We have, as a people, we have trillions of dollars in our buying power. And what you start to see right now is when these things happen, how do we force America to recognize us? It's not by begging, it's not by marching. All those things are amazing. Those things are great. I believe in protesting, I believe in marching, I believe in getting more intricately involved in the political process, knowing who the judges are that may judge you, right? If you go not to the federal level, but in your city, there's a judge that's going to see you. If you ever have any issues, you're going to hope and wish you could have voted for the right person at that point, right? And so my point is the way that these companies are moving and what affects America is money. So that's why we're starting to see a lot right now. You're starting to see, hey, different companies, CEOs not backing Black Lives Matter. Oh, really? Okay, you can't? Oh, you don't? Okay, cool. Cut off. We're not touching you dollar-wise anymore. And that, unfortunately for us, I hope we get it more. It's beautiful. It's I think something's happening a bit different because this time around, you know, with George Floyd dying, I think it's weird. It's almost like none of this is new for us. Right? The fear of police ain't new. Like police been killing us for hundreds of years. Like none of this is new, right? But here's the thing. I think, and I hate to say this, but I feel like his life, his sacrifice was a weird God-given almost blessing, because it's hard to watch that video and have any logical reason to say that this is not an injustice. With a lot of the other cases, you can say, oh, well, Mike Brown, oh, well, you know, he robbed a store, right? It's always that but, you know, Tamir Rice, oh, well, he was playing with a gun. Oh, this guy, well, he had a record. You saw this dude, literally, they were sitting on him for 9 minutes and people were saying, you're killing him. And they killed him, right? So I think something very powerful is happening in America. I'm seeing a lot of companies get on board with Black Lives Matter. I'm seeing a lot of allies, a lot of people who are not in our community saying, hey, something's happening. I, for years, didn't see it, but I get it now. I want to be a part of it. How can I help? And I think for us, one of the most powerful things we can do is we can control what you can control. We can't control racism. We can't control the system per se, but you can very much so control your dollars. You can control where you spend your money. You can control building your wealth, because nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Are we owed reparations? I was about to cuss. Definitely. Heck yeah, we're owed reparations. Other countries get this. Slavery happened. It was basically a free labor system. We built wealth for everybody else. In the 20s, they came up with the Homestead Act. It was $130 billion given out to help families get that first piece of real estate. Less than 2% of those loans went to Black people. So the middle class in America was a handout, was given. These were grant government, like this was like a handout given to people. We just didn't receive it, right? So we're due repair. All reparations means is repair. It's not a check for everybody. Everybody shouldn't be, but it's a strategic. How do we rebuild this community in a way that repairs the damage that the government of America allowed? If it never comes, it may never come. But what we can control is I got an iPhone. I use Apple. I'm going to spend $20 a month and buy Apple until I get that $10,000 account. I'm going to learn about options, which is how you then take it to a different level. Options trading, it's a little bit more advanced, but it's based on the same fundamental principles, right? You got to learn this stuff, and then you're able to kind of free yourself in a different way, right? I see all the entertainers, I see people getting on board, and all of this stuff is great. But here's the one last piece I'm going to say as a caveat, because this will blow you away too. There's a company called Ariel Schwab. They used to do a black investor survey every year. They stopped doing that. I don't know why. It was really great information. The last one I read was probably like 10 years ago. I think really a lot of this stuff doesn't change per se in terms of the data. This blew me away, Raquel. They interviewed a good cross string of America, right? But they interview, of course, specifically, they're trying to get insights on African black folks' investing habits. What they found was that African Americans, when we get really serious and focused on investing, it's based on income. Our white counterparts, they get really serious based on age. So something in white America, when they turn 30, it's just like, I got to get serious about this investing thing. I got 35 years to retirement. 20s was playtime. Let's get serious, right? African Americans, we get serious at that same level based on how they measured it when we start making six figures.
Yeah.
And only 5% of Black America makes six figures. So the other 95% potentially will never see the reality that investing is the key to wealth. And that's why I do what I do.
Oh, that's heavy. Eye-opening. Final question.
Yeah.
What would parents' next step be? What would the parents who are listening, what would their next step be if they want to turn their children's life toward, turn their kids toward a lifetime of investing?
Yeah. I gotta be shameless plug, right? You asked me to be on here for a reason, right? So I think one of the worst things that I used to do in my 20s, I used to go to all these economic empowerment seminars and all this stuff. When I would go to everything to learn. They give me an amazing presentation and then they wouldn't give me an opportunity to do anything. There was no resource. There was no, I want to do it. And they didn't have a class or something I could then, right? And that speaker let me down.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not going to do that to y'all. I have a new program, and it's just funny how stuff works. It really, really is. I've had this on my website probably for the last year and a half, saying that I had this kids class coming. I did a really dope, last time I was up in Indianapolis, had this amazing workshop with kids, about an hour and a half, really interactive. By the end of it, Raquel, they could tell you why it made more sense to invest in Facebook versus Snapchat.
Yes.
And could speak intelligently to, well, their market cap is higher. What is market cap, right? How do you calculate market cap, right? They could talk to you about bulls. I'm wearing a bull's hat because it's kind of like my little innuendo for investing, right? Bulls and bears. Think about this too. The Chicago area, you have those two big sports teams, Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears. And we call investors bulls or bears. It's connected back to Chicago because Chicago was one of the first earlier stock markets. Right. So literally wearing a bull's cap, you're like, it's related to investing and you don't even know it. So all of that said, next month is going to be a really great month. I'm launching. It's not going to be an online course. It's going to be even better. It will be a live Zoom-based call, interactive. I'm going to walk the kids through some really, really amazing stuff. It's going to be about 90 minutes. Once again, really interactive. If they have a cell phone, they'll literally be able to interact with some of the material over their phone. And I think it's important to get them excited. And this 90 minutes with me will be, it will be those 90 minutes that most of us never had. Right. And so the next step would be make sure if they're interested, they can, so two things, right? They can go to my website, limitlessclass.com. If you go to the very first page, there's a part to put your email, but I want to make sure specifically I capture those people. So I would say they can write me directly, right? Email me directly. I like having that, I'm very hands-on. That's probably one of the best things you'll learn about me, right? So they can email me directly. Go to the website if you want to do that. That's totally great. But make sure you get me your email address. And that way, when I start actually booking the sessions, you'll be able to book a session. And here's the thing too, because I want more kids to learn. If you got 3 kids, 5 kids, 2 kids, it doesn't matter to me. There's only going to be one cost. It's not going to be anything crazy. And then I'll have like a little add-on, right? So your friends have friends. All right, so if it's an outside family, but they're going to be there, just to kind of know how many kids are there. Because I've been doing like a lot more hands-on consultations and things like that with adults. And it's been really cool because everybody's at home.
Right.
People have been reaching out like, hey, I'm at home. Let's learn something.
Well, that's what's up. We're going to make that available. Somebody is asking a question. They said, what do you recommend they do with their portfolio on a day like today?
Oh, bloodbath day like today. Great question. So yeah, the market's down. Market's been hit. But here's the thing. If you're a trader, then you would have been happy about today, because as a trader, you understand both directions. You can be long of a stock. You can make money when it goes up. Options, futures, foreign exchange, the more advanced, a little bit, faster paced things where you can make money. You would have just been short today and you would have made money, right? So as a day trader, I was short today. Today wasn't a bad day for me, but that's trading. If we're talking about long-term investing, today's the day that doesn't matter 10 years from now. Today's the day that doesn't matter 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It was a blip on the screen, you know? So I think it's really, really important to make sure we stay in investor mindset when we're talking about our investments. Investments are years in the making. Once again, I gave y'all that stat about Netflix for a reason. That was $15 a month over 10 years. There was some drops, right, during that 10 years. But right now, how many people listening to this have $30,000 sitting in an account? Most of us don't. 99% probably, just based on the stat of even what I said about investing, right? The average American doesn't even have like $1,000 in savings, right? So how do we come up? How do we accelerate? I think if you accelerate your learning, because this is one of the most powerful things you'll learn, and it's not taught. There's a lot of things that revolve around money, right? It's wills, it's trust, it's life insurance. There's all of these pieces. But the only way you can take today, based on information, you can take $100 or $1,000 and potentially double it, get 5%, 10%, whatever that is, without doing any hard work, is in these markets.
Now, how does this conflict with our financial planner?
Okay, so great question. Great question. So what I do, check this out. Some of the people in my class are financial advisors, right? So let me go here for just a second. Financial advisors aren't investors or traders. They're not. That's a big misconception. Financial advisors are trained and they go through a process to get the series. There's a couple different licenses, but they get these financial licenses. But if you ever go to somebody, like I would challenge you for fun, go to the type in financial advisor, right? And kind of just figure out and see what they actually do. They open accounts. They make sure they understand your risk tolerance, right? There's certain documents and certain things that they do to allow you to be able to invest in that company's funds, but they are not actively themselves looking at a chart and buying for you or telling you when to do it. They're giving you an overall bigger model. And I hate to say this because it's going to sound negative. I don't mean to be negative. Financial advisors are salesmen. They're salesmen. Now they can help you with a plan. Once again, one of my best friends, he works at Northwestern Mutual. Amazing guy. He can talk to you about your debt, your goals, all these different things. But when it comes to investing, he literally calls me. And that's because at the end of the day, if you can think I want to invest in Apple, and you can learn the basics, once again, basics that I could teach 8th graders or 12th graders about the charts, because it's a little, you got to be able to see price. You got to know. It's like, here's the thing. Apple's a great company. Nobody really would second guess that or doubt that. But there's a right and wrong place to kind of buy if you're not able to just certain amount every month and just have a long-term view, right? People want to do a little bit more advanced than that, and I'm totally with that. But for that to happen, you got to get the knowledge. You got to take a class like mine. And then you have a richer conversation when you're talking to your financial advisor, because you can kind of speak their language.
So
right? Yeah. Because here's the thing. What I teach you to try to do is I want to teach people specifically how to buy stock, options, trade or invest and make money on your own independently. That's what I try to give people. And I don't say you don't need to never, it's not about not having help as a financial advisor. Because financial advisors do what I don't do. They're going to talk to you about debt. They're going to talk to you about your will. They're going to make sure you got life insurance. They're going to talk about your overall life. But what they're not going to do is they're not going to teach you how to take your own money, recognize the opportunity, and make money on it. All right.
And one of the good things that you said, early on was your dad, by him passing away, you had a little nest egg, $50,000, and that is not that's not a lot of people don't have life insurance policies. especially Black people. You know, I sold life insurance for a long time.
Really?
I was passionately in the hood, making sure that folks door knocking, making
old school,
stood to build wealth.
Yeah.
And so I know lots of friends that are still selling life insurance policies, but that's a great way for us to pass down some wealth so that our kids can do things like invest.
Yeah.
And you know, not wait for the reparations to come,
right.
But do some of the things that we're talking about today.
And be empowered.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I hope this won't be the last time you come and talk.
Oh no, I'll come back as often, you know, as you guys want me to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Good.
I will. So I didn't give my email address.
Okay.
Probably important. So the website, you know, I would type it in, but my little host chat thing. Wait, hold on. Let me see if this will pop up. Let me try this. It's www.limitlessclass.com. They get that publicly, or is that a host chat? I think that's just me and you.
I don't know. Oh, I don't think so because I
don't see it. Okay. Either way, oh, there it goes. Okay, you put it. Okay, so limitlessclass.com is how you connect with me through the website. My personal email. Once again, I want your kids to learn. It's so critically important. If you go to the website, I got your email, but specifically, I want to kind of know those parents, right? Because I got thousands of people on my email list, right? And so that main page isn't like designated for anything specifically. It's just like a, you know, just you're just newly added to the list, and you'll get information. But I want to make sure I focus on you guys because I'm here. So email address is noble, Noble, noble at limitlessclass.com. And I'll make it easy. If you put in the subject title, put EYS. That's all you need to put. I got you.
Okay.
If you want to talk to me, cool, right? We start a conversation. Let me know, you know, how you enjoyed this. I always like feedback. But if you just want to kind of make sure, you know, I can circle back and make sure that we get your kids moving this summer. And let's get them moving, right?
Well, thank you so much. Blessed to have you, brother.
Blessed to have you.
Yeah, we'll keep this up.
Yeah, we will. Cool. This was great.
All right. Have a good day. You be safe out there.
All right, I will. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.